Ciso. Oh, it's fabulous! A strike to get you up off your seats.
Hello and welcome to Seagulls Social Season 4, Episode 4. Brighton are 4th, are we? I think we are.
I don't know.
I'll check that.
I don't know about it.
I think we are. Something like that. But anyway, all that really matters is Brighton are very, very good at football, ladies and gentlemen. But
so good that we're 6th place, Ryan.
6th place, sorry. I thought we were 4th.
I think we were 4th.
It's West Ham that are 4th.
Yeah. We were 4th as of full time yesterday.
That was it. Yeah, maybe that was it. Yeah, sorry.
And now,
spread misinformation.
Yeah.
Because we filmed this straight after the game. That's why.
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely not Sunday night, and we're all absolutely
I'm very sorry. This definitely isn't. Yeah. Maz's in bed. If you wanted to know. No, I'm joking. I actually don't know where he is either, to be honest with you. But nor do me and Ben. But all that matters is Jack has been able to fill in last minute. So thank you, Jack, for coming on. Mate, how are you doing?
Yeah, slightly sunburned. You can probably see. Just had an exciting day out at Lyd versus Kingstonian in the FA Cup first preliminary round.
Lyd versus Bottle Cap.
Yeah, had some amazing jerk food at the game. Like genuinely best footy scran I've ever come across. Like
I'm a very big fan of.
I was like Chet Hanks by full time.
Chet Hanks.
But yeah, no, it's great. It was great. So had a nice day. It's good. Had fun. And other than that, I'm great.
And Ben, how are you, mate?
Good, very good. Enjoyed yesterday. It was a great laugh. Very good day. And then I was working today, which was pretty busy, but glad to be doing this now. Talk about the mighty Albion. We've got a lot to cover. A very historic episode. We have. Obviously, we're going to do the match first. We do.
Yeah, a lot to talk about. Obviously, the everything of the week is insane. I mean, as a day of being a Brighton fan, it's mad when you think about the week in general. The pavilion was lit up blue and white beforehand, but we can talk about all of the Europa League stuff in good time. Obviously, Ansu Fati as well signing. In fact, I'll touch on that first, Ansu Fati signing, because obviously he came out with Carlos Baleba before the game. Nice little standing ovation. I don't know about you though, Ben, or Jack. Actually, I'll go Ben. I don't know about you, but I felt like maybe just some highlights or something. Just something on the screens, just to keep it a little bit more interactive. I just felt like it was a little bit harsh on them just to come out and then just walk back down. It was a bit hard, but I don't know about you.
I guess it was a bit underwhelming, but we're never going to be like Barcelona or Real Madrid where we force them to do keepy ups, even if they can't do them. Because it's just embarrassing. I just remember the Ousmane Dembele one, that iconic one where he couldn't even do like 2 in a row. But yeah, no, I get what you mean. Some highlights on the screen would have been nice. I didn't even see them come out because I was just in the concourse with a lot of other people as well, unfortunately. But yeah, it would have been nice to have seen them. But I saw a video, so I basically could say I see them. But yeah, I get what you mean.
On the concourse.
It was a bit underwhelming. Yeah. I do agree.
Yeah, I was gonna admit it. I never normally go. I'm quite guilty for it. I never normally go out till literally as the ball's about to be kicked. But I did want to see him and see what we made of it. But yeah, it was about as good as you'd probably expect a Brighton announcement to be. It was. I like
the video announcement.
There's a bit of an applause.
The video announcement they done for Fati was nice. Yeah. You know, showing him the history and that sort of thing. And what a beautiful touch when they used the commentary of saying, "Is this Brighton or Barcelona? Is this Barcelona or Brighton?" I thought that was obviously a great touch with him being a Barcelona player. Yeah, I really did like that. It was quite I wouldn't say an emotional moment, but it was. I guess it was kind of an emotional moment watching a Barcelona player who has number 10, who took the number 10 from Lionel Messi, who's been dubbed as the next Messi and the person to take over from him. And now he's at Brighton on a week we've been drawn in the Europa League against some unbelievable historic clubs in Europe. To then have Fati as well, it was just an incredible moment watching that video. It did hit hard.
It's going to be a bit of a rude awakening for him coming to England, isn't it, with that name Fati on the back? But I'm sure there's going to be plenty of chance coming. But I don't know about you, Jack. It's buzzing to have a big name like Ansu Fati, not just for on the pitch, but off it as well. It's got a lot of attention around and given a real boost, I think, a bit of a buzz around the name of Brighton, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really big signing. Probably one of the best young players in the world. I did not another amazing Jack prediction, but another amazing Jack prediction. I did say if we're going to sign someone, it is going to be someone bolt from the blue. We're not really going to get a link. You know, it's in this world of football transfers that, you know, there's such an industry around it, and some of the industry is great. You know, I think it's quite exciting. Probably not when it happens to our club, because I do find myself a bit of a hypocrite moaning at some football journalists, and then I realise actually if that was another club, I'd find that really interesting and exciting. But it seemed weird in this time where every transfer we seem to know about for weeks beforehand, like build up and build up and build up and build up, that this one just appeared. So I don't know whether it was worked on for many weeks, or whether we just got him out of nowhere, but it's a huge signing for the club to come from Barcelona to Brighton. It does sound like that Barcelona are pretty desperate for money, so that might indicate...
Yeah. Imagine Brighton Hove Albion helping Barcelona out for money.
Yeah, I mean,
mental.
It's... yeah, I think... We've got some weird ass deal on this. Like, I think we're like not paying his wages or giving him an upfront fee or something. I read like that. So
I thought it was. I think we're paying 80% of his wages, something like that.
I think
maybe
someone told me that we're paying his wages, but we're not doing it as a wage. So we're just paying a lump sum for the whole year because they need the money now or something. That's what someone told me. But, you know, I'm not an insider, but. I think they're quite desperate for money, so it's good to have a player of his talent here.
Yeah,
it'd be interesting to see if it means we can try and snatch him off him there by the end of next season. I could see that being very unlikely.
Yeah, very unlikely,
just because of how highly regarded. I think Xavi said as well that he wants him back. But Ben, go on.
Xavi did say because they have like 3 pretty top talents on their books at the moment, and Xavi couldn't promise them all first team football. Was that Yamal guy as well, who's like 16, who's just been called up to the Spain squad as well. I don't know if that is his actual name, but something like that, isn't it? And then they've got another bloke as well who's just coming through. But the weirdest part about the whole thing, like obviously being a local lad and knowing what Lancing is like, sorry to everyone that lives in Lancing, but the fact you had Barcelona's number 10 driving through Lancing, driving past the Harvester or whatever it was, I could not wrap my head round that. The fact that Ansu Fati was in Lancing of all places in the whole entire world. It is. Yeah. It's quite crazy, and it's only going to get crazier.
Things. I don't know if you guys. Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw. Sorry, I've got a bit of a delay on my side, but I don't know if you guys saw the thing that I put on of that. I don't know who it was, so I am sorry to whoever this is. If she does listen to Seagulls Social, probably doesn't. But I never normally drag out people. But there was someone that was just getting baited every time, and I put that thing on saying I saw him in Shoreham, and this is obviously when it was a little bit of a. You know, I thought I was being trolled by Brighton Bubble and Owen. I thought they were literally just on a wind up together, trying to get as many interactions until like all of a sudden saw Fabrizio put the tweet out. But yeah, I think I put on a thing of an edit saying I saw him in Shoreham, and she was saying yeah, prove it. So I said okay, I've got a photo. Put the photo on of him on Shoreham Beach, obviously the worst Photoshop you will ever see. And I think. Once that happened, and I was like, yeah, sorry, but sure. And all of a sudden, they just say, Ben, to see him in Lancing, it's just insane. Like, that is actually... I could have put on, literally, Ansu Fati was near the Harvester in Lancing, and it would have been a joke. Like, that's just
so weird.
But,
it's so odd.
It is. But yeah, anyway, it was enough about Ansu Fati. We want to talk about Brighton, the team we got in a minute, because as much as we say he's a great player, it's going to be still very, very difficult to break into this side at the moment because Solly March was fantastic yesterday. João Pedro was very good as well. Karim Matoba was very good. And not to mention the man up front as well, which we'll get on to. But to start off, I want to just say, and I don't want to just dig out Dan Burn because I don't want to do this as a podcast, but do you not notice how many times he was having these little digs at Evan Ferguson, him and Cher, how they both stayed on the pitch, I've got no idea. But for the first time in a long time, we've got a player like Ferguson, Ben, who can take these little digs, take these little shots, but he's going to come back and be angry and get a hat-trick. We've never had that before.
No, it's so mad to see like, us having a striker like that. And just the kind of the fallout from today and listening to TalkSport, just whilst I was working, I know. They are obviously comparing him to like Kane and Haaland. And even that, I just can't wrap my head around the fact that, you know, we've got 18-year-old striker at Brighton, and he's already been dubbed as the next Kane. He looks like he runs like Haaland. He's got a left foot like Haaland, but has the movement like Harry Kane and the passing ability like Harry Kane. And also the strength. When I was seeing him in between the centre backs and the defenders, he just looks like a grown man compared to them, despite being 18 years old. And just his age is just I can't wrap my head around either. But yeah, he is going to be very, very good. And I think I saw your tweet or someone else's tweet saying that the best thing for him will be staying at the club for the foreseeable, and I hope he does, because obviously he signed a new contract recently, and I hope he does kind of stick to that and does give us at least like 2 or 3 years, or 3 years at least. That would be brilliant for him. But he was incredible, and looks very good in between some pretty physical centre backs yesterday.
Do you agree, Jack, that, not necessarily about Ferguson being a great player, great asset, but also just as a player, 18 years old, it's not unrealistic to say that the best place he can possibly be at the moment and for the next few years is here?
Yeah, I mean, he needs to play here. I think he's one of these players who I think he very much wants minutes as well in all his interviews, and he's quite grounded in that. I do agree with you. I have no idea how Byrne or Shah stayed on the pitch. I'm not sure who tackled him really late on. I believe it was Shah who tackled Lamptey, but they played advantage. So then he didn't get a yellow.
That was it.
Oh no, it was Byrne. It was Byrne that just completely Byrne completely clattered Lamptey. And I was thinking, what are you doing that for? Lamptey's like the smallest guy on the pitch. You know how tiny he is from your time at Brighton. Yeah. And you've just picked on him. Like, it's a cheap shot from Dan Byrne.
I think he had a bit of a torrid afternoon, to be honest. I think Dan Byrne couldn't handle Ferguson. I thought Ferguson's all-round play was amazing. He was dropping really deep, bringing the ball back, sort of making these nice little touches in central midfield, and sort of almost... It was like watching Kane. When Kane is at his best, he's that sort of striker, and where he can sort of, provide so much more than just goals. And I think that second goal was such a superb, instinctive finish. I think Pope will be a little disappointed with it. I think he'll be disappointed with at least 2 of the goals. The third one wasn't really his, but let's not take anything away from Ferguson. He was fantastic, and it was a joy to watch him. Especially against Byrne.
And you mentioned him coming back deeper. Against Byrne. I got to be honest, it was quite funny. And I didn't go into that game with too much spite towards Byrne, but towards the end of it, I think it was just quite funny to see him get done with how it went, and obviously the way he celebrated at St James's. I just thought, you know what, who cares? But
didn't agree with the boos though,
Jack, about him.
I didn't agree with the boos, especially in the first half when he hadn't really done anything. I don't
really care.
I was one of the only one of my friends who really liked Dan Byrne. And I did used to prop him. I actually went into the club shop once and bought a Dan Byrne shirt, and they said, "Oh, I've never done one of those before," which was quite funny. But I still like Dan Byrne. I think he's a good servant to the club. I think he moved to his dream club. He is probably going to get found out a little bit now at the level they're at. With the, one thing I think will be a good laugh is watching him versus Mbappe. That's going to be a serious one in the Champions League. We will see what happens.
So mad, Dan Byrne.
And there's that very quick winger who plays for Dortmund. Is it? I can't remember what his name is. A really young one.
Adeyemi, is it?
Adeyemi. He's going to be a sight to behold. And this is also not talking down Dan Byrne as well. I think he's a great player, but he did get found out yesterday, and they look so much different without Botman. With Botman, they look a different team.
Big plus for us.
And I think some Newcastle fans said if we haven't got Botman, we're a different team, and that's what happened really. So it's a great performance.
Yeah. And Botman did a good job against Liverpool last weekend, and until they managed to concede 2 in a row after about 5 minutes. So, I don't know, Newcastle are a strange team so far, I've got to be honest. This season, they've really surprised me. I did go into this game very, very worried. I've got to be honest, I wasn't confident at all. Just based on how he's sort of been on the counter-attack, I thought it could be a bit susceptible to them. Obviously, Callum Wilson's amazing record against us, but no, we really just shut them off. And I think a big credit goes down to obviously Jan-Paul van Hecke, but also Billy Gilmour. I thought both of them two, particularly in that first half, were immense. Van Hecke was winning everything. That first challenge he made on Isak, I think it was, that ran through, was great. And I thought that sort of set the tone really. Alongside obviously Verbruggen at the back, and it was his first real game where he didn't have to have a bit of a calamity in front of him. It was a chance to really see a bit of Verbruggen and that good save and the good distribution as well. But I don't know about you, Ben, but Billy Gilmour is giving me real future captain vibes. That performance yesterday, he's only 22 years old, and I thought it was such a composed performance, but. Yeah, I'm going far. But he played the Alexis McAllister role really, really well.
Yeah, he did. No, he did. And it's good to see. It's good to see him still going. I can't see him really dropping off, and I hope for his sake as well, and for our sake, that he's going to be a first team regular now and won't kind of find his way out of the team. Obviously, Dahoud's had to kind of make way as well for him, but unfortunately for Dahoud, Billy Gilmour's still playing well. And yeah, no, I do get what you're saying about kind of being a leader. I think he will kind of grow into that role as well for being a leader. Maybe
Scottish, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly. That anyone that's Scottish just automatically has to be a leader, and I think he does it quite well. And I think we see videos and we kind of know a bit about his personality. He's got great banter as well, and he seems to get on well with he has a little click with Adam Webster, Lewis Duncan, that sort of crew. So I'm sure he's learning a lot off of them for sure.
He seems like a very nice lad, from what it's come across. I do remember when we were allowed to take selfies and pictures outside the stadium on the line. Not anymore.
Shots fired.
Not that I care. That's something I care so little about. Sorry if that makes me a real bar humbug kind of guy, but I don't care if we can't have selfies. It will not change my life. But
14-year-old me would have been gutted.
Yeah, exactly.
I would have been gutted.
But we were singing a Billy Gilmour song to him, and I've never seen someone look so bewildered, man. He looked like he couldn't grasp the concept of the song. He was like, what are you singing?
Was it the Billy Gilmour? Billy Gilmour.
To the Proclaimers 500 miles. And he was just, and we were like, I was like, oh yeah, like that. And just sort of gave up. But no, I think if Ferguson hadn't scored a hat-trick, Billy Gilmour would have been man of the match.
Oh, see, I would have said Van Hecke.
Agree.
Well, see, Van Hecke and Billy Gilmour, two great performances.
Really, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Van Hecke's only trouble was that Callum Wilson goal, and that's the only reason that physically.
That was so annoying. I really wanted Verbruggen to have a clean sheet there. I was so desperate for him to have a clean sheet, and I was so annoying conceding that.
The grass is green, the sky is blue, and Callum Wilson will always score against Brighton.
True.
It's inevitable. He cannot not score against us. I think of every single game he's played against us. Even that game, which was a 0-0 draw last season, he still scored an offside goal. He scored a goal that was disallowed for high foot. So, and it shouldn't have been disallowed. It shouldn't have been disallowed, to be fair to him.
If West Ham somehow sign Callum Wilson soon and they have Danny Ings, Callum Wilson and James Ward-Prowse playing against us, we're finished. I'm not even going to go to the game.
Yeah,
we're losing now.
That is the kryptonite Brighton side.
3 goals conceded straight away.
Yeah, exactly.
It's such a weird one, isn't it? You get nemesis in football. But yeah, Callum Wilson, it's something about him in there. And I was worried. He did get his goal. Fair enough, it is what it is. But luckily, it didn't matter too much. Although, it did give me that real ounce of minimal doubt of, please just don't throw this away now, because this would just be ridiculous.
I genuinely said that. I was like, this 2 minutes.
3 goals in 5 minutes.
This is going to be a big 2 minutes. And obviously, in that moment, you're thinking the worst, aren't you?
You realise how stupid you sound, isn't it?
Anyone else watching the game in neutral will be like, there's no way you're throwing this away, shut up. But being there, you're just like, oh, we're screwed now.
I'm like that all the time. I'm like generally unbearable to sit next to sometimes because of the amount I almost lose my head.
Mate, sitting behind you last week was hilarious for the West Ham game. I think I said it last week, but he was like one of those inflatable things outside like a car dealership. Your arms are going up like that constantly. It's so funny.
And one thing I will say about the Newcastle game is, and this is before any Newcastle fans jump on this, because I've said it before, and people go like, why do you hate Newcastle Football Club? Why do you hate... It's like, I don't actually hate Newcastle Football Club. Just like to emphasise that. But there's one person I just really don't like, and it stems back for years and years. I can't stand Eddie Howe. I don't like him at all.
Fair.
I like Newcastle. I can't stand Tyndall and Howe. Like they are my
do you know what?
favourite.
The Bournemouth 2014 team wound me up.
Yeah. Oh,
Young McGann. I get what you mean. You know what I mean? Like the names come back to me like it's nothing. Matt Ritchie used to do my head in. So I get it.
It's a long running thing. Like I think there was, and I think I was talking to some Newcastle fans about this in Newcastle when we played them away last year, and I was like, I just can't stand him. And I was like, and I think it really does come from the fact that we cannot beat Eddie Howe. Eddie Howe has like a hex over us. Till yesterday. And I think the first game I remember us playing against Eddie Howe, I'm really going to get my stats out here, was in the 2010-11 season, and he was Bournemouth manager, and Kazenga Lualua scored an absolute screamer from
Was this the 12:30 kickoff? It was on Sky randomly. We were on Sky. Yeah, that was mad. Yeah.
Then at the end of the game in the 90th minute, Bournemouth got a penalty that was about 3 yards out the area, but this was, of course, in League One before the times of VAR, so nobody could have checked it. And I remember
that 40-year-old bloke that scored as well, like ran over.
Steve Fletcher.
Yeah, Steve Fletcher. Yeah, I remember that. So
and ever since that day, I've hated Eddie Howe, and like I said before, Newcastle fans jump on me going about. I actually got on quite well with all the Newcastle fans I met yesterday, but Eddie Howe, man, I can't stand him. But he is invariably, I will
12
say
years.
this,
That's crazy.
A very good football manager.
Yeah.
As much as I'm moaning, he is a very good football manager.
But they bring it on themselves, though, Jack. Like, especially Jason Tindall, like shushing Jurgen Klopp last week when they had scored or whatever, and then obviously Jurgen Klopp being able to shush back. Like, don't give stacks until the result's over or until you think you're actually going to win, because otherwise he's going to bite you in the arse. And he was made to look like a mug once again.
The one thing I will say about Newcastle, though, is the first 10 or 15 minutes just before we scored was a cracking game of football. I remember that first 10 minutes being like, this is two very good attacking teams. Like, you know, they were going forward, hitting shots. Isak looked on fire for those first 10 minutes.
Yeah, I was going to say that 10 minutes I thought we were finished. I thought we were going to lose that game in the first 10.
We were... No, just on Isak. I actually thought we were doing a decent job of him. I thought
we did a decent job.
Pretty much on top of him most of the way. Yeah, I thought apart from his moment, he had that ball across. Should have done better with that, really. But I don't know. I thought we had him in our pocket, really, on a large part of it. It was only, as you say, that first 10 minutes, it was just a bit scary. I think it was a bit of nerves, perhaps. And Stupinian, he had a bit of a shocker, didn't he, last week?
He was having a weird game.
The ball away a couple of times. Yeah.
I thought he had a weird game, actually, which shows how good we were. That despite Purvis probably having one of his lesser games in a Brighton shirt, I thought his passing wasn't as good as usual, and he was maybe a bit susceptible.
He got into it, I think, afterwards.
Yeah,
he did.
But I think to have such a good performance, even with one of our best players playing at probably a lower level than they usually do, shows how good we are as a team at the moment. I'm also just rattled at Purvis because he is in my fancy team, and can he just get that clean sheet bonus?
Yeah, I know.
Please get him that clean sheet bonus.
But he was pretty pivotal.
I'll
in
always
our
be
opener,
lost on FPL, mate.
He was very pivotal in our opener. Like, obviously Nick Pope, awful clearance, and then the way he sat, was it Anthony Gordon, I think, that went charging in and sat him down or put him to sleep on the floor. And then obviously Billy Gilmour, apparently, well, this is a fact from my dad, so I hope he's right. Billy Gilmour's never scored a goal in professional football.
No.
Never scored a goal. When he hit it, what an absolute belt of a strike as well. So I'm obviously a goalkeeper probably should catch it, but I think it was hit with such venom that no keeper would really be able to catch that properly, or maybe just have to parry away, and Pope couldn't.
Yeah.
And because Evan Ferguson then got to tap it in, but yeah, Billy Gilmour's strike was hit so sweet. Yeah. Hopefully we'll be able to get a goal soon.
It's where the petition starts for Billy Gilmour to start shooting more, because the amount of times
he's got number
he had a
11, so he should be an attacker.
He's always in the right positions. Yeah, and he's always there. Like, he's always around the right area. If he just shot more, I actually think he'd get a lot more goals, or at least test the keeper a few more times. And you never know, if the keeper messes it up like he did there, if you've got someone as good as Ferguson lurking around, he's more often than not he's going to tap that in. And to be honest with you, I know it was a bit of a striker's sort of goal, number 9 sort of goal, and it goes to tap-ins if you're on football Twitter. But it's been so long since we've had a number 9 there just waiting for a ball like that. Because since Glenn Murray went, I really haven't seen a player, turn my head in the Championship. But since being in the Premier League, really, we've not had anyone apart from Murray just lurking and waiting and having that instinct. As you say, Ben, earlier, those comparisons, it was with Jack actually, those comparisons to Harry Kane, those comparisons to Erling Haaland, obviously they sound crazy when you say them out loud, but to have that sort of instinct, you've got to be in that sort of elite mentality to be able to be there. It's an instinct at the end of the day. I've always said it. I think that if you're a good striker and you can score goals naturally, then you can do it at any level. I think Ferguson's that sort of player. I still believe,
and then even his second on his right foot.
Glenn Murray could have done it at any team.
But his second on his right foot. I mean, I think Glenn Murray probably scored like 1 or 2 goals from outside the box for us, but Evan Ferguson won with his weaker foot. And obviously, I think we mentioned him dropping deep. He dropped deep to break away from Dan Burn. Dan Burn had no idea what to mark Pascal Gross or to. Yeah, he was in no man's land. And Evan Ferguson from so far out, it seemed like it took an age for it to go in as well. Which is a funny part.
He can seriously strike a ball as well, Ferguson. I remember some of his goals for the under-21s. I think there was one he scored at Goodison against Everton under-21s.
Yes.
When we first started noticing. And he absolutely pelted it in. And you're right, Glenn Murray, for all that he's worth, you're very right. And the only outside the box goal I can really remember off the top of my head was probably the chip at Palace away. and a goal against Villa in the
Aston
Championship.
Villa.
Yeah, Villa in the
go.
Championship.
Right.
So, Ferguson's got everything. And Glenn Murray was tweeting about Ferguson after the game, saying what a great player he is.
Yeah.
He said,
he
thank God
really
the
is.
window shut, didn't he? That was
It's so nice, actually, that Ferguson scored that hat-trick one day after the window closed.
Yeah,
that was great.
Finish.
What a boy.
Yeah,
So,
I noticed. I noticed in the replay of the second goal, the one from really far out, he was, as soon as the ball left his foot, he was smiling. I think he knew that he'd hit it so well and was tucking it straight into the corner. He knew that was in. He was already smiling. Unless he just plays with a smile on his face anyway.
The skill to see your keeper off his line. I mean, I know he's got so much time, and I know Byrne and Chen dropped off him, but at the same time, to see that keeper off their line like that, and knowing that if he just gets that right and bends it into that far corner, you're gonna score, and that's such a good instinct to have. As I say, in that sort of 2 or 3 second window. I know it seems like a long time when you're watching the game, but it's really not. If you play football and you can see that opportunity and shoot and score, it's a very, very, very good instinct to have. But yeah, I can't speak highly enough of Evan Ferguson, but it's not an Evan Ferguson show at the end of the day. I think that we all round we're very good, and as you said, Jack, about that sort of dropping deep, I actually thought João Pedro was much better deeper. I think he's definitely not a number 9. I think where he's behind that centre forward, if it's Ferguson, then even better, because I don't know. There's something about that link up. If you've got Ansu Fati coming in, if you've got the Dingra, we've got so many players. But obviously, Solly March and Mitoma more often than not, it's such a good combination, Jack.
Solly is brilliant.
Yeah. I think as well to have Pedro as number 9, it has deceived us a little bit.
Yeah.
He's been given the number 9 shirt.
Billy Gilmour's number 11. So numbers are out the window at this point.
Yeah.
Mate.
I'm not. I'm not happy as a numbering. They're not very aesthetically pleasing.
I agree.
Are they? Having a number 10 as number 9 and 11 is sort of a deep line playmaker. But it's better than today because the Kingstonian centre back today had a number 9, and I just couldn't concentrate on the game all game. So
forfeit the match.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah.
To be fair, I can't really talk. I used to play in my very, very, very bad days of being like 12 in school. I think I always chose number 5. I played for a team called Vipers. If you're watching this from Stonington Vipers, you're elite. And I think I had number 5 as a centre forward, but then we had another number 5 at centre back. I think we both just had the same shirt, so we were both number 5. And it was just an eyesore for everybody involved. But no, anyway, that was not relevant. But yeah, João Pedro much better deeper in my opinion. But also Mitoma I thought was quite good.
Mate, oh my God,
and all that sort of thing.
That moment when he chested it and then just flicked it before the ball even hit the floor, we'd lost our heads in the north.
His first touch is a joke.
Yeah,
his first touch is a joke. I've never seen anyone that good
away.
at the first touch. Yeah, it's a joke.
Big shout out as
honestly.
Well. I was going to say, sorry, we're all dealing with Ryan's delay in different ways. You're all good. In town after the game, I met a Japanese fan who was on his honeymoon. If he's watching this, shout out. I can't remember his name. I follow him on Instagram. Sorry, that sounds awful. He was really nice.
Shout out. I can't even remember his name.
I showed him back to his hotel. He was pissed.
Where are you going with this, Jack?
Yeah, no. But he came over, and it's just amazing to think of the Mitoma mania that we have, really. And he had hand painted a banner of Mitoma himself, which looked amazing. So he's a really nice guy, and it was interesting chatting to him, and it sort of shows you. And to watch a Mitoma do that sort of skill must be amazing if you've travelled all the way from Japan to Brighton on your honeymoon with your wife to watch Brighton play Newcastle and Mitoma does something like that.
Yeah.
It was quite amazing, really.
How far we've come as a club is a joke, isn't it?
Yeah.
People coming on their honeymoons to watch us play.
It's just insane. Mate, I went to the Amex the other day on a random Wednesday, only because I had to have a meeting, but more importantly, there was Japanese fans lining up and going into the club shop, and I just thought, this is a random Wednesday. Whenever I've come to the Amex on a random Wednesday, there's nobody here, and it's insane. Like the way that the club's improved, but also the following that Mitoma's got. I mean, to be honest with you, I love it. I think it's great. I had a few Japanese fans sat next to me as well. They're just loving it. I think it's fantastic, the support they show, the loyalty towards Mitoma, but also they're improving our atmosphere. They're helping us out, filling up the stadium. Not that we sell out every single week anyway, is it? So I think it's great. And Yeah, no, it's a joy to behold Karim Mitoma at times. When that first touch, we say, is ridiculous. But while I'm on the subject of sort of things that are ridiculous, Bart Verbruggen, by the way, obviously we spoke a little bit about his distribution, but it was a bit of a toss-up, wasn't it? When he first came in, you got Jason Steele, obviously was playing very, very well, goes out, Verbruggen comes in, loses 3-1. It wasn't ideal. And then, people, reactionary people, by the way, this isn't me, but people thought, it's Verbruggen to blame for any of these. Comes in this week, I thought he was fantastic. But that little turn he did on Anthony Gordon was just proof of that.
Could have happened to a nicer player.
He's 20 years old, for God's sake. Yeah. You're right. But yeah, Jack, Verbruggen.
Yeah, Verbruggen, I thought I didn't think he had a great... I don't think he was bad against West Ham. He couldn't have done anything with the goals, but it did make me pine a little bit for Jason Steele's distribution. And I thought he wasn't quite as with the long balls last week as much, but this week he was fantastic. And he was a little bit shaky at the beginning. There were a couple of very rushed passes.
Couple he gave away, wasn't it?
Yeah, but that's how we play. We play football like that, and I think this was a game where he could grow into it, and to do a Cruyff turn, like you say, was as good. And it's nice to have two keepers, because I think one thing that when we had Sanchez, and he's gone now, obviously, I think he dropped off when he didn't have any competition. Because Potter was very much a Sanchez man regardless. There was no sort of even thought of dropping Robert Sanchez. And I think his performances dropped off as a result there, because he wasn't able to push himself like when he had Matty Ryan behind him. Or I think probably the best period, because even Matty Ryan, as much as people like to be slightly revisionist that he was crap the entire time, he was good for a period when he had Tim Krul pushing him. When it was him and Tim Krul, when there was Tim Krul and Matty Ryan probably gave his best performances for Brighton in the first season after promotion. Yeah. So it's
honestly,
good to have.
Honestly, it used to wind me up how Krul never got more opportunities for us. I'm not going to lie. I used to like Krul. I thought every time he had a game, I thought he actually played quite well. And I'd always think it was harsh and him not starting sometimes, with how Matty used to concede some of the goals he did. But I do agree with you. Verbruggen, I think it's.
I was going to say, to have Steele and Verbruggen, they both could get in the team. Like Steele, his distribution fantastic. He's got no reason to really be dropped. But at the same time, you can see why it's brought Verbruggen in. In terms of height, I think Verbruggen offers more from corners. I think that's what... Whereas I do think Steele is probably still a better passer of the ball. So they both have their pros and cons for different situations. And it's good to have them competing with each other for that place. Because if they didn't have that competition, I expect their performances would have probably dropped off. Like with Sanchez.
The difference between Sanchez and Steele is that after that full time still comes on and he's buzzing, like high-fiving everyone, happiest guy, keeping everyone motivated and that sort of thing, whereas Sanchez probably just walked straight down the tunnel or probably wouldn't have even turned up anyway. And that having still in the changing rooms and around the team is going to be so beneficial. And he's a great character to have.
Yeah, I agree. And also, not to mention De Zerbi's quotes back a few weeks ago now, but where he said that he doesn't see it as a 1-on-2. He gets it's going to be a very controversial decision, but he wants to have two number ones. I think you can sort of see that. Perhaps he sees different games differently, and maybe one game he sees Steele as the better option, another he sees Bart. So I think it's not going to be one where, say in a couple of weeks' time we play against United and you go, okay, maybe he started Steele, I'm not saying this will happen, and we go, Verbruggen's been dropped. It could just be, no, he fancies Steele more in this opportunity. I think it's just going to be like any other position on the pitch for us. It's going to have to be a case of we're trying something different, and De Zerbi's an innovator.
Yeah, he's a modern day manager, so it doesn't really surprise me. Even my auntie was chatting to me about it today. She couldn't wrap her head around it. She was like, how can you have two number ones? Surely it'd be so confusing for the defence. I was like, maybe it's quite easy to go down that route and probably say that, but I mean, I'm sure our centre backs and defenders are going to have confidence whoever's between the sticks, because they're both very good keepers.
I also think that you can see the reasoning behind why Verbruggen has come in for these two games. West Ham obviously have James Ward-Prowse, who is so strong at set pieces, and as much as we weren't great against West Ham, he did do his job in that they didn't score from a set piece; they scored from counters. Whereas, and Newcastle as well, they've got Dan Burn, who is like a man mountain. And Shaw very good from set pieces, he did very well at dealing with set pieces. We weren't threatened by set pieces at all. So I think we did very well.
So going from one Dutchman being
I can
Bar,
agree.
I did want to say Joel Veltman filled me with so much confidence with him being back in the team.
Glad you did this.
Was he only missing against West Ham because of an injury, or was he just dropped?
I actually don't know. If I'm honest,
Was he on the
I don't know.
bench?
He was on the bench,
I find
so
it weird.
Because Milner got caught out. I know he wasn't very good against West Ham. I can't lie. And just Veltman was just class again, as per always 7 out of 10's minimum every single time. And
I think he
has to start
every week.
Yeah, he has to start. I don't know why he hasn't.
I don't know who was playing left wing off the top of my head. Was it Gordon? No, Gordon was more on the. Gordon was on left wing.
Gordon's on the left and Miguel Almiron's on the right.
Yeah, and I think Veltman did really well at dealing with them both. I think they switched a bit, but it was nice to see a proper right back there, like a right. Sorry, not a proper right back, but someone who does play right back. And I think
right.
Back to the
right
best
back in right back.
yeah, and I think Veltman's best performances are when he's playing against a formidable opponent. Like Zaha is a great player. You can quote that from me. And he dealt with Zaha superbly. And, he sort of kept him in his pocket. And I think when Veltman is given a job to do like that, when they do play with strong wingers, then he always performs because he knows what to do with his job.
Yeah, he turns
I think
up.
a lot of people were complaining about potentially someone slandering Joel Veltman. I can't remember who that was. So I saw someone on Twitter saying who's slandering.
I'm
it wasn't
not
an episode
taking
I was on.
responsibility for that. That's for sure.
Yeah, it wasn't an episode I'm on.
No, I think I was joking about his wife, obviously complaining about not getting enough love from Brighton fans.
Oh yeah,
and I was trying to say, make sure you watch this.
Oh,
but other than that,
yeah.
I think he's a great player. So,
I'm safe.
I'd love to see him. Yeah.
And sorry, I'm going to go on another tangent. Another right back that came on, and we saw a glimpse of what he has back in lockdown. Lamptey, he beat a few men to the ball, and he showed his rapid self, didn't he? And that was really refreshing to see. Ryan, I know you wanted. We both wanted to talk about Lamptey, but you talk about Lamptey.
I was going to talk about Little T because I've got to admit that cameo was very, very reassuring, and not just so much about all this sort of thing, but also just to see him back with a bit of confidence. I feel like when he was out of the team for such a long time and then came back, I feel like he lost a lot of confidence going forward. I don't know if even De Zerbi's going to see him as a bit more of a winger. He didn't put him in right back, did he? He put him up a bit more advanced, and it worked quite well actually. Sort of his darting runs past Dan Burn, it was always going to get past him, to be honest, in that day. But I feel like he might be a good. It's hard to call him a winger, but I feel like he could be quite a good sort of wide option, perhaps. I don't know where that would be, but he's very, very, very quick, as we know. But also his ball in is actually very good too. Yeah. I think that's going to be very handy for us, particularly in latter stages of the game with all these fixtures we got. But Tariq Lamptey, mate, I'm so glad to see him back because you just love him, don't you? Everyone loves Tariq Lamptey. I think it's impossible not to.
You nearly set up Matoma as well, just towards the end. That would have been a nice touch if he managed to get an assist there. But there were a few times
should have scored really, Carew.
Lockdown Lamptey is still there, and we talk about quite a bit on the podcast of how much we want to see him back because he's an unbelievable player when he's at his best. So to be able to have him, to utilise him for all the games we'll have in Europe as well and that sort of thing, like you said, later on he'll be such a massive impact. Like imagine Lamptey running at you when you've just done 80 minutes against our other rapid players and the way we pass the ball out. They'll be knackered anyway, our opposition. So when they've got Lamptey running at them, they'll be shitting themselves, and he's such a great weapon to have on the bench.
It's great to see as well that we have so many fast players. Like I think there was a period under Potter where my mate Joey always used to moan about it, and he was right. He did bemoan that no one was particularly quick.
Neil Mopé was our quickest player.
Yeah, or like Johan Bash, as much as he was okay. He wasn't the quickest player as much as he was a winger. His position, and he wasn't. We haven't for a long time had these sort of rapid, quick players, and now we've got 5 or 6 of them.
Yeah.
The last one I can remember is bloody, maybe Will Buckley or Kazengulu Aluar. Like that's Buckley, the last time I remember having like a winger who just sort of put the ball down and would almost. I remember them like overtaking players, whereas now we seem to have about 6 different players who can all do that, and Lamptey's just another.
I remember starting.
Card.
Yeah, I remember starting this podcast and. Like back then when we started this podcast, mad to say that's like 4 years ago now, but I remember that Lamptey sort of cameo, and we were just going mad, weren't we? That game against Newcastle, funnily Newcastle, but it was that. I think it was that Newcastle game. We beat him 3-0, wasn't it, St James's?
Yeah,
and he just ran them ragged. I think he did it against Leicester. Yeah, there was a few games in there where he really proved his worth. I think really quickly, and I feel like it was a bit of harsh for him really because it was in a time where. Obviously during COVID, there was no fans in. Everyone was getting overhyped on social media because.
Oh, and then he was with Bayern Munich, mate. Do you remember?
Actually expressing their opinion. Yeah, Bayern. They wanted him with Alphonso Davies, so it all was just a massive rise from him in about a few months. But it would go to show, he's a quality player. Let's face it, he's a quality talent. If we can just keep him fit, and as you say, Jack, it's the pace that although it might sound a little bit of FIFA sort of thing, but. To have that pace in the team, it's going to help us so much particularly in this latter stage of this long season we've got. Wearing down these teams, being able to bring on another quick player that can get around defences. But yeah, Tariq Lamptey, top man, very very happy to see him back in the team.
Good to have him.
Hopefully he can stay fit for a little bit longer as well. Very good to have him back. I want to just say about Van Hecke a little bit more, just because I wanted to touch on Dunk because I feel like there's so many players to pick out at the minute, but Dunk probably won't get any credit compared to everybody else. But I feel like you look at Colwill for Chelsea the other day. He obviously let through that goal for Forest. So what? Yeah, whatever.
Someone said he ran like HS Tiki Toki. If anyone's ever seen HS Tiki Toki run it, that's a violation. It's so funny.
Sorry, Miss Jackson. But yeah, no, it was a mad moment from Colwill. But more importantly, when people are alongside Lewis Dunk, as we've seemed to say for such a long time now, Jack, they just seem to look a lot better, don't they?
Yeah, I don't know. I think, and I don't want to be too harsh on Webster because I do still think he's a very good player. But he did have a shocker last week. I think he would probably even admit that himself. So it was nice to see that Van Hecke was given the opportunity. And funnily enough, I actually on the way to the West Ham game met Van Hecke's family on the train because I had my Brighton shirt on with Van Hecke and they wanted a picture with me, which was quite entertaining. So that was quite funny. I do really like Van Hecke. He's sort of, I tried to say it in the nicest way possible, but I don't think my translation from English to Dutch came across. And I said, he's a very unpredictable player, but in a good way. He can do. I don't think a lot of us saw him as the person who was going to pocket Haaland or the person who, he kept Isak quiet for a lot of the game, and the only real mistake he had, like you say, was against Callum Wilson, because Callum Wilson has to score against us, or time and space collapses.
Yeah, it was very good play from Callum Wilson.
But I think Van Hecke's a very good player, and it's just another good side of our depth, and we haven't even seen Igor yet. We haven't even seen him touch the pitch yet.
Yeah.
So, and I've always quite liked Lewis Dunk on the left side of the defence. I think Colwill was a very good left-sided player, but that's where he used to play when he was alongside Duffy, because Duffy was the right footer. And, that's probably most Brighton fans, when they go back and think of some of our all-time best partnerships, it is Dunk and Duffy. So he played some of his best football in that position next to Duffy on the left side. So it'd be interesting to see if he sort of sticks there. So it'll be interesting to see. So, yeah.
Yeah, agree. That's it. Really. He's just class, isn't he? I think when you've got someone that is as good as Lewis Dunk, as experienced now as well, that the man he's sort of become since he was the one that used to score own goals every week and was a bit of a laughing stock at times. The man he is now, he's just an elite sort of defender for us. He's very very good. He deserves his England call up. It's worth mentioning as well because I don't think we've mentioned that. Didn't get a chance to show it, did he? Last time where he got called up, I think he got pulled out. This time, hopefully, at least he gets the game. I think we got Ukraine and Scotland, didn't we, in a friendly? Yeah. So it'd be nice to see him in a qualifier because I'm not being funny. He's got to be starting over Maguire, but he won't. But he should be. But it would be nice to see him in an England.
It'd be quite fun to see him play with Colwill again. That would be quite cool to see Dunk with the right Colwill there.
To be honest with you, mate, I saw something about Colwill, and I saw a Chelsea fan. It had something like 4,000 or 5,000 likes or whatever, because they get so many likes on their tweets when they put something stupid on. But they said that when Sinners-Badia Shields back, there's no right to start him, and they don't want him to start. And that had a lot of likes, a lot of views, a lot of people agreeing.
Oh, Levi, what you done, pal?
Didn't we say on this podcast? How long will it be until they turn against one of them? They've turned against Colwill. How long will it be till they turn against Moises? I don't even know. Nor should I really care.
Mate,
but
it was Caicedo's mistake that led to the goal, the Forest goal, which was the funniest part.
That's what I mean. It won't take long. Because it is such a weird thing, isn't it? Here, like we've almost got something that's so right where everyone just looks so much better than they potentially are. I think Bissouma's now proven his worth at Tottenham. Ben White's done quite well at Arsenal, although he did get spun again by Marcus Rashford, but that seems like an annual thing at this point.
That's like Callum Wilson scoring against us. That's just
some sort of
that just happens.
It's Callum Wilson, isn't it? He plays against Rashford, gets done. It's just a weird one, but as I was saying, sorry, on a tangent again, but yeah. So everything at Brighton just seems to look better. And I don't know what it is, how you pinpoint it, whether you put it down to system, whether you put it down to owner, whether you put it down to the manager. But then everyone said this
an
about
amalgamation
Potter as well,
of them all,
didn't they?
So it's everything put together, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you're right on the system, that some players don't work in certain systems. And you can't just buy, and this is why we've done so well in so many years, is that we buy players for the system. Chelsea don't necessarily do that. Like Cole Palmer, odd signing. Are they just buying him because they can?
Spiteful, mate.
Yeah, are they just buying him? I get why City sold him because it's pure profit for them. But to Chelsea, what does he realistically believe he's going to get more game time at Chelsea than he does somewhere else? So
yeah, the squad has got like 60 players. You know.
Yeah,
it's just strange. Yeah. It's so strange.
Yeah.
Agree. But yeah, it's weird, but it's a good weird for us because, as I say, the more it happens for us, the better. Because at the end of the day, if player goes off and flops, one, it's funny for us fans, but also, I don't know if there's any particular incentive, whether it ever will be or not.
It's more case studies for us that
at some
if you leave Brighton, it's not as green on the other side.
Mate, you've got to be looking at that. Yeah, and as we said, he's clearly got a decent, quite well grounded family around him. I think, and I don't know the guy, but just based on sort of how he speaks and how he seems to go about his career, he doesn't really seem to care about anything else apart from what he's doing.
Yeah, I mean, he made the smart choice.
He looks at that out there and thinks, "What would I do that for?"
He seems to have a good team around him. I think from the whole Caicedo saga, we've probably seen that he didn't have the greatest of teams around him, advising him on how to do stuff. Whereas I think Ferguson has a very, very good team of people around him. I think Bissouma, though, you touched on that briefly, that he's starting to do well for Tottenham. I think that's because, one of my things I'll probably admit to more and more as the season goes on, I really like Ange Postecoglou. I think he's a really good manager. I think he's got a really good system of playing.
Very likeable character, isn't he?
Yeah, and I think he'll look at Bissouma and he'll go, "Oh, I can fit him in," and he was a great player. And as much as probably he left under not the greatest terms, that we all sort of got a bit wound up with him. But on his day, he was as good as Caicedo when he was really flying. So maybe not quite as good, but he was up there.
No, definitely
for levels. So
go back to Ferguson quickly.
Pep, mate, such a good quote.
It's coffee and bed, mate. Go back to Ferguson. Like the best example of him having a good team around him is when he had the choice to play for Liverpool or join us. He picked Brighton. Like he could have easily I imagine like 99 players out of 100 that are at that age and have an opportunity to go to Liverpool would probably select them. But he thought, I've got a good pathway here to the first team, and he made that decision when he was 14, 15. And now he's banging hat-tricks in the Premier League at 18. In unbelievable company, by the way, for teenagers that got hat-tricks in the Premier League. Michael Owen 3, Robbie Fowler, and then I can't remember who the other two were or what the other ones. But yeah, unbelievable company to be in. I reckon we should talk about Europa League draw now, for sure.
Yeah,
I was just going to say, just to finish it off, I wanted to finich now. But that was going to be the end, sort of penultimate thing, Europa League draw. I'm not doing Marseille.
Why not?
But I probably will go to Amsterdam.
It could be a lovely, safe place to go.
Really?
Lovely city as well.
What? No, you don't want to
go. To be honest, I will say, because we'll probably get someone watching this. I think, I tried to say this to someone on Twitter about Marseille, and every city's got bad areas. It's like any city. London's probably one of the worst cities for crime in Europe. Yet we go to London most weeks anyway.
We've all seen Lancing.
Yeah, we've all been to Lancing, so I would say, look, it's
another Lancing jab. That's insane.
Yeah, it's football, isn't it? So I don't know. I'm happy to go to Marseille. I'm going to all three, so it's fine. But Ajax, Athens, and Marseille. That's going to be a hell of hell of a couple of trips.
Ajax is going to be some memories.
Yeah.
Ajax is going to be some memories.
That's going to be
insane.
But I was going to say, like, everybody's going on about Marseille is going to be tasty. Ajax are a bit tasty on their day when they want to be. So, and nobody's worried about that. So,
But if we could not have picked like 3 better away trips, or at least 2, like going to Athens or Amsterdam. Like if I had to pick one out of all the teams, I would have picked Amsterdam. I think a lot of people would have. And the fact that we're going to be going there, be walking down the red light district and bump into Mike King and Jack Albion, it's going to be an unbelievable scene.
Yeah.
Doing some business. I was saying it before. I was like, the one I want to do is Ajax. It was that one you want to do, isn't it? I've obviously missed the joke because I've got such a mad delay on my side. But yeah, anyway, I'm probably glad I've missed it, to be fair.
Yeah, just want to do a PSA. If my mum's watching, I won't be doing any business in the red light district in Amsterdam. That is not something that is on my agenda.
Can't see his hands on camera.
No, can't see it, but yeah. Yeah, it's fine. Anyway, carry on, Ryan.
For the audio listeners, Jack was crossing his fingers, just in case you couldn't see.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, Amsterdam's going to be brilliant, right, isn't it?
Goodness. Where was I? Johan Cruyff Arena, iconic. I'd love to be there. It would be good. And also, just I think it was that one, isn't it? When it all came out, you say you want to go to Ajax. It would be great fun. Rangers as well would have been quite cool, just because it's a bit easier to get to. But we'll see. Anyway,
first world problems there, lads. Like moaning about who we haven't got in Europe. We've
it's just mad, isn't it? How much we've changed.
Yeah,
we have.
When I saw Marseille,
I don't know who else is even in the thing, is there?
Yeah, sorry. When I saw Ajax and Marseille in that group with pot 2, whatever it was, I thought maybe it's group B. I don't know what we're in, and I was thinking, that's the group. Like I just knew that is the group we're going to get put in. And when we did, I was like, oh my god! Like it just hit me that this is real now. And then we booked up Amsterdam straight away, really, and I cannot wait. It's going to be an unbelievable trip, and there's going to be so many Brighton fans out there. It's going to be incredible.
I'm happy we didn't get the other couple. So I haven't been on a podcast for a while, so I haven't even been able to tell you about the spreadsheet, which I created for the.
How long is this going to take, Jack? We've got bedtime.
Not long.
Come on, Jack. I
I did all the potential options, and they sort of fell away more and more. More of the impossible ones were disappearing, like Belarus didn't fancy there because they'd invalidate my passport if I visited the country, the Home Office, or Kazakhstan with an 11-hour flight away. There were 2 left, and I don't think I've ever celebrated more than when Karabag and TSC Bakatopola were not in our group, because they are impossible to get to. So these ones, I'm booked up, I'm going to them all. I'm looking fully forward to it. Athens, never been before, beautiful city, I'm told. I'm round the corner from the Acropolis in a hotel, so I'll have a look round that. Marseille, and I am doing the song, and I am getting the boat, the train, and the plane to each of the destinations. So I am doing the boat to Amsterdam. Because what's it? We're on our way. We're on a boat. We're on a plane. We're in a car. We're on a train. Anyway, it's. I heard that one. Fine, just me. And
is this what you guys get up to in the Southern Rail offices? You just see
exactly.
transport song. The wheels on the bus go.
Yeah, this is their banter, mate. They're just going to joke about where they're going to go for free.
And so I'm doing Amsterdam on the overnight ferry, Marseille on the train, and then flying to Athens. So it'll be great. It'll be a great.
You're mad.
This is the dreamland, really. This is.
Yeah, it is.
When I was watching us away at Huddersfield and we lost 7-1, I don't think in my wildest dreams did I ever think that I'd be booking a flight to Athens to watch Brighton Hove Albion Football Club play. And that stadium looks amazing as well.
That's a great note to end on, Jack. That is very nice.
It's what a few years and what a weekend we've had, because I did say we've had such a good weekend of. I thought we'd lose because I just thought that's the Brighton way, isn't it? Sign one of the best young players in the world, get an amazing Europa League group, lose 2-1 to Newcastle.
Had it all switch around as well. That's what I don't like. As soon as I saw it switch ends, I thought we're done.
It's a bit like
that is the one thing that I don't like.
when we unveiled João Pedro, when we lost, we were like 3-0 down at half time to Everton, and it was pissing down.
We lost 5-1. We switched ends for that game as well.
But it was half time when he got unveiled,
like,
I think, didn't he? He came out and we were losing, and everyone was just moody, thinking, what an awful game. And but luckily Ansu Fati got to see us batter the Geordies.
The only thing I will say about the group, just quickly on that one, is as much as there will be some great trips like Amsterdam, it's a tough group. It's a tough group to get out of. You know, AEK and no mugs. They finish high up in their league. They're probably seen as the easier team, but you know they're a high performing Greek side, and the Greek side contains Olympiakos and some very good teams. Weirdly, Andre Gray plays for a team in the
he does.
Greek league at the moment. Marseille, they're one of the this is a weird one. They're one of the best French teams. You know, the French league is not a mugs league.
They dropped out of Champions League, didn't they, Marseille?
Yeah, so they started Champions League.
Were they close to it?
And they started Champions League. I think they lost to Panathinaikos to not qualify. So they're not going to be mugs. Although reading a lot of Marseille Twitter accounts and stuff like that, they're not very impressed with their team this season. They think
I was going to say.
Low performing team, which is because they're a huge club. You know, Marseille are a massive club in you know, their stadium holds 60,000 people. So them not performing will be them, you know, finishing in the Europa League.
Ajax also, Jack, quite similar to Marseille. Like, they've lost some big players. They lost Timber, they lost Kudus, obviously. They lost Alvarez. I think that I'm missing one as well. They've signed
Chuba Akpom though.
Okay, then we're finished.
Yeah, so we are finished. And there is nothing players who used to play for us like doing more than scoring against us.
Very true. But I think when we did
especially
that,
I did think a loud atmosphere.
Yeah, I thought we were going to drop straight into the Conference League, and I think in third place, take that, win the Conference League, bosh. But I genuinely do think we could get out of this group now. I'm much more confident, especially obviously.
We'll get out. We'll definitely get out. We'll get out. I think, to be honest, I don't think it's that unreasonable to say we'll win it, because I think that, you know, look at how we play, mate. Come on now, like, we're a good team. You know, a lot of people, if you're abroad and you were looking at Brighton, you'd be saying they'd be unlucky to not be in the Champions League this year, but it's now they play in the last end of the season. So I think it's not unreasonable to say we'll get out of this group and even get into the latter stages. I think we're a very, very good team. We'll definitely be ones to watch, especially in the Europa League. But yeah, I think I've got a lot of confidence, I've got to be honest. And I think the Caxton Arms was buzzing. It's safe to say, shout out Brett Mendoza. I wanted to do that. I just wanted to shout out Brett because he put a lot of work into it, and I feel like he needs to get his shout out, which he didn't really get enough, in my opinion, in my humble opinion anyway.
Lovely man.
He deserved more than he did.
I've met him many a time. He is a lovely man, and his pub is very nice.
He's top.
I'm not paid to say this at all, but he is a very nice man. I think he gave me a free tuaca once. Or I didn't pay, I don't know. But he runs a really nice operation there. And it's great. So, but you're saying that we could win the whole thing. We're second favourites. We're second favourite of the competition. If you go on the gambling sites. Yeah, so...
I've literally just looked. I'm on Sky Bet as we speak. We're actually fourth.
Are we fourth now?
Well, joint third. So you've got Liverpool, then Roma, then it's actually four of us all the same odds. We've got Atalanta, Brighton, Marseille, Villarreal all on the same odds. But I did see the same. I did see the same with us being second favourite somewhere, but it's obviously changed a little bit. No, Seville.
Yeah. It's Sevilla, really, isn't it? That's.
They'll probably just drop. They'll just drop down.
They'll probably drop down. Though.
They
win it
anyway. Third in the Champions League. When they get in their Champions League group, they go, lads, we're finishing third. We don't want to finish in the top two. We got to drop into Europa League and win it again. So.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, they've got Sergio Ramos signed today, so I don't know about that one. But thank you for joining us, ladies and gents. I say ladies and gents, who knows. But yeah, thank you for joining us, Jack and Ben as well. We'll see after the international break. It's going to be a bit of a long break after all this sort of madness, isn't it? It's a bit of a lull after the craziness. But
it's always good to win. It's always good to win before. It's always good to win before the international break, though, isn't it? That's a massive, massive dub.
It is. Yeah. And Old Trafford, roll it on. We will be there. And before then, if you're only playing anything like this today, and Jadon Sancho's recent statement, I think we'll be all right.
Yeah, what was that all about?
Then, thank you very much for joining.
Sorry, I didn't even get that news. I was like, Ryan, explain it to me. No, finish the thing and then you can do it afterwards.
Honestly, I've lost so many points today in this delay. It's ridiculous. But hang on, let me just get up this Sancho thing because then otherwise I feel like I've let everybody down.
That'll be.
Hang on, Fabrizio Romano, I'm finding you.
Whilst Brian looks, Jack, thanks for coming.
Here we go, got it. Okay.
Because very last minute again.
Oh yeah, Ben had to ring me, but I'm always here. I'm fighting the sacking allegations.
Tobbs.
I'm psyching the couldn't say anything there.
It's been an hour, Jack. Don't worry.
Oh yeah, it's been.
This was meant to be a quick.
But anyway, here's
episode.
Jadon Sancho.
Half an hour.
Yeah. Anyway, Jadon Sancho. Right. So. I don't even know what's happened, but I think he's been dropped. I think Ten Hag said that he had been dropped because he wasn't good enough in training and he just didn't deserve to play. Whereas Sancho's come out and said, "Please don't believe everything you read. I will not allow people saying things that is completely untrue. I have conducted myself in training well this week. I believe there are no reasons for this matter that I won't. There are other reasons for this matter that I won't go into. I've been a scapegoat for a long time, which isn't fair. All I want to do is play football with a smile on my face and contribute to my team. I respect all the decisions that are made by my coaching staff. I play with fantastic players and grateful to do so, which I know every week it's a challenge. I will continue to fight for the badge no matter what." Interesting. More importantly, I know a place, Jadon, where you could just stay if you really wanted to. I believe it's down by the south coast, and you do a very good job under De Zerbi, I'm sure. But it's a very weird situation over at Old Trafford, as seemingly always every single year now. But they're a weird club. We will finish above them. I'm telling you right now, we'll finish above Manchester United. But anyway, that's it. You don't have to believe me, but we will. And I'll come back to this, and I'll say we have, because I just think they're a mess, and we're better than them, and I just do, and I don't care what anyone thinks. And this goes back to the Billy Gilmour thing, which you'll look to me a bit like, oh really? But then again, Roberto De Zerbi said the same thing, so look, I guess I'm on the same wavelength. But anyway, until then, we'll see you. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, comment below something. What are you going to do, Jack?
Comment below where we think we're going to finish in Europa League.
Actually, if any Marseille fans are watching this as well, comment any nice craft breweries in Marseille, because I'm struggling on some craft breweries. Good ones in Athens and Ajax, but any in Marseille, be nice to find out.
Imagine we actually get a Marseille fan that comes back for some craft ales and lagers for Jack.
It'd be lovely. It'd be lovely.
If not, just say Brighton on the way to Europe or something like that. Something classic.
Yeah.
All right, boys.
I think the craziest thing I said today was that we'll finish above United. Anyway, thank you for watching. We'll see you very, very soon. And until then, goodbye.
Peace.